Hi, you're watching The Critic and the Professor. I'm Doug Van Pelt, the critic. That's Peter Emerson, the professor.
Awesome. Okay, so this is The Critic and the Professor, and we're going to start out with one of our faves, Rapid Fire.
Rapid fire.
Okay, Doug, so I think last time I may have asked you the first question, so perhaps you should fire one in my direction this time, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, so we're starting rapid fire.
Rapid Fire!
Rapid fire.
Peter, from your viewpoint,
Yeah.
what percentage of people at Immortal Festival were wearing black t-shirts?
Ooh. Most. Most.
51% or more.
No, I would say that it was probably in the high 90s, high 90%. It may not have been that there were no white button-down shirts. There were no. I didn't see any polos. I didn't see any. No Izods, nothing like that. Mostly black T-shirts, I would say, with some band or another emblazoned on the front.
One of the great managers in our music scene, Tim Cook, God
Okay.
bless him, he wore khakis to Cornerstone. He was managing Grandma Train, which was Paul Rohrbach or P.J.
yeah.
Bostic's former band from Seattle,
Yeah.
and POD, and he took POD to multi-platinum status. But he comes to Cornerstone wearing khakis like a brisk businessman. The rest of us are in the dust and the hot sun and shorts and T-shirts, and that was fun.
You were shaking your head, and you're like, "Oh my goodness."
I wasn't shaking my head, but PJ was.
Yeah,
He had something to say about that.
he did.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. What's the greatest opening track on any album ever released?
Whoa. Greatest opening track on any album ever released. I'm going to go off a list off the top of my head and narrow it down live in person. So A Whole Lot of Love starts off Led Zeppelin 2 with a pretty powerful career song. That was a definite good one.
That's a really good one.
Trying to think of, King's X had some really good albums, but I don't know if the opening track was ever really the best track on Living in the New Age. Started off Out of the Silent Planet, and I think, I don't know what the first track in Gretchen was, but so it wasn't King's X. The Galactic Cowboys, I'm Not Amused, starts off their self-titled debut. That's really good. You try to think of something that really just, sets the listener on fire, like that old Maxell commercial with the guy sitting there and the speakers are going. Kiss, Destroyer, Detroit Rock City started that album off with a blast. Yeah, I can feel it. Golly, what other first track? That's a great question. I really took great effort in the band Lust Control took a 17-year hiatus from 94 to 2011. We recorded an album. We put the song Finger, which was composed back in the 90s, 94, and we were dying to just give that song justice and give it its life in the studio. So putting that as track one was very important for us. So it's a very important. First impressions are so important. Trying to think of Keith Green was a great Christian, kind of an Elton John-esque piano player, worship leader, great singer-songwriter.
Yeah, I guess that begs the question then: if the album, if you're a new group, you really want your first song on the album to just come out of the gate, right?
Yeah.
Just plugging, just slugging away. But if you're a more established group, you don't necessarily need to do that, and maybe it doesn't fit the overall shape of the album if you are doing something thematically across the entire album, a concept album, or just shaping the album.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to that as well, and maybe that's different depending on what your goal with the album is.
So it's a real tough question I know I'm going to remember later. Oh, I should have said this one, because there's so many great lead-off tracks out there that just really smoke. But I'm going to go with Whole Lotta Love, Led Zeppelin 2.
Awesome.
Such a great song. First track, it's kind of a shocker that the first song is just that stinking good.
That's a great example. Very good. All right, I accept.
All right.
I accept.
Thank you for accepting my answer.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, Peter. The Rolling Stones
Uh-huh.
or The Who?
Oh, the Rolling Stones. Ooh. Yeah, definitely the Rolling Stones. Not because they're dangerous.
Who said that?
I don't know.
Rewind episode 2.
Definitely the Rolling Stones. I think the Who is super, super creative. And I think they definitely used more creative keyboards. Ding. But yeah, I don't know. To me, they just the Stones are like the fixture, and if we're the Stones are the fixture, and the Who are definitely brilliant at what they were able to accomplish and what they were able to do. I can't put my finger on it, but the Stones just, in my estimation, have always been perhaps what the other bands were measuring themselves against. And I'm not mentioning the Beatles in this conversation because it wasn't asked.
You didn't even say it just then.
I didn't even bring it up, but we're talking about the Beatles were here and gone way too soon, and so I'm thinking about with the Stones continuing and the Who continuing. Well, definitely, it was in my mind the Stones over the Who, and that's not to diminish what the Who did. Because I mean they did great things, really great things, and especially with the rock opera stuff that really speaks to me with Tommy and all of that. I don't know, did the Rolling Stones ever venture into anything like that?
I think not.
Yeah, no. So they were just in your face, gut punch. It's only rock and roll, but you like it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, apples and oranges in a lot of ways, but yeah, both very significant bands, but I would still put the Stones first.
Likewise, I accept your answer.
Ooh, thank you.
I thought you were going to have a vengeance answer of the Who just because I chose the Stones over the Beatles in a previous episode, and you were just going to get back at me, but you went with your heart and your head, and I'm impressed.
No, I'm not petty like Tom.
Yeah. Ka-da-ping.
Thank you very much.
All right, your turn to ask away.
Okay, if someone gave you a 1-year free pass subscription or a pass to an activity or a class or something like that, what would you choose? Could be anything.
Activity, class, magazine.
Well, it could be anything.
Free, a 1-year subscription.
Yep.
I would probably go with a 1-year vacation from work.
Ooh.
So many things I want to do. There's books I want to write, music I want to create, and work takes 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and things around the house, projects. Getting everything done. I'd like to have a year off to do that. Boy, would that feel good.
A sabbatical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it.
All right. Doug Van Pelt and his sabbatical from work.
My cat Sabbath sabbatical.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Okay, Peter, next question.
Yes.
Describe a time you faced discrimination or teasing for your musical taste.
I think you've already asked me this question.
I'm going to keep asking until I get a good answer.
Well, there was this one time when I picked the Beatles over the Rolling Stones, and some doofus across the table from me made fun of me for it. I mean, there was
doofuses,
that.
Man.
Is the plural of doofus doofi?
It is. I was about to
Okay,
say that.
so-
We're on the same wavelength here.
We are. Doofi think alike.
Yeah.
Back to the discrimination thing. I don't know. No. No.
I didn't say if you ever face it. I said describe a time
Oh, goodness.
where you did face it. Face the music, Peter. Never got teased in high school for wearing a T-shirt that was like not popular?
No, I don't think I cared.
Yeah.
I wore some goofy stuff in high school, as is demonstrated by...
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe I just shared that.
Yeah, I know.
But, yeah, business in the front and party in the back.
Oh. Did you have a mullet?
Well, didn't you just see the picture?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was cool. I'm still cool.
Too cool for school.
I'm still cool.
You didn't care because you're too cool to care.
No, I didn't care. No, honestly, I've had my hand in lots of different kinds of music, and so I kind of felt like I could hang everywhere. I grew up with classical music. I did play the Beethoven sonatas and the Mozart sonatas on piano when I was learning, and learned to love Bach and all of that. And so I could do that. I chose not to do that because I was like, oh, I like to play Bach and swing it. And so I would swing it, and I was like, and my piano teacher would be like, you got to play that straight. And I'm like, I don't want to. And so that kind of led into the improvisation and the theory and stuff like that. But I was also playing rock and roll when I was younger in high school. I had a band when I was in high school named Voyager.
Wow.
We were very, very cool. We went into the studio and recorded, my sophomore year.
Wow.
We were together for 5 years and wrote original material and recorded it, and I still have some of it. And in fact, in 2016, we did an anniversary concert back home in Michigan, and we got the band back together and did a reunion tour kind of thing. And it was very cool, and we put together a set list of a couple hours worth of music and rented out a place and bought a couple kegs and invited a ton of people, and it was very cool.
Wow.
And that band was called Voyager, and we were heavily influenced by all of the bands that I always mention that I love, like Styx and Rush and Triumph and such. But Voyager kind of had that Journey kind of name kind of thing,
Yeah.
and we played a bunch of Police and Peter Gabriel and that kind of stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah.
We tried our hand at a little bit of Yes, which was really, really tough.
The name Voyager, you have to.
Yeah. Yes. But anyway,
Nice.
I digress. But no, I was never really teased because I was doing that, and I was also in musical theater.
Hey.
And if I would have been teased about anything, it would have been that. It was
Okay.
like, oh, he's a musical theater kid. Because those kids, they got targets on their backs, and
Yeah.
sometimes justifiably. But, if you embrace the nerd, then you don't care. And so if they said anything to me, I ignored it and didn't pay any attention to it. So is that an acceptable answer to your question?
Kids, embrace the nerd.
Embrace the nerd.
Give him a hug. Come on.
Have you hugged a nerd today?
This is good territory we're walking through here.
We're getting deep.
Yeah.
We're digging in deep. Yeah. There it is. Okay, so a question for Doug. Why do we call them buildings if they're already built?
Well, there's an agency in Texas called the Facilities Commission, and they're always repairing stuff. So they're adding on to the building. But that's a good question. Why do we park on driveways and drive on parkways?
That is a great question as well.
Yeah.
It is one of the mysteries of life.
Woohoo.
There we go. Okay, there you have it. Is that it?
Rapid fire.
That is rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Okay, this next segment here that we're going to get into is the main feature.
Main feature.
Okay, main feature is where Doug presents something to the peanut gallery, meaning to me, that he is sure that I do not know, and I am going to give a first reaction to it, and then we're going to break it down, and we're going to talk a little bit about it afterwards. And so here is the main feature, and while Doug is setting this up for us and getting this ready, I will unlock the computer for him there.
Thank you, sir.
And then we're going to jump right in. So here we go.
I want to tell you something about this song.
Ooh.
This segment is catered to blowing your mind. Getting their first reaction and blowing somebody's mind. Well, this is a mind-blowing song. This song, when I put together the Heavens Metal Collection, a 2-cassette or 2 compact disc, oh, I wish we would have done vinyl back in 92. I chose 31 Christian heavy metal classics. I went chronologically, starting with Res Band and ending with Mortification. And I could have chosen a lot of songs by this band, but I chose this epic, capital E, capital P, capital I, capital C, epic 8 or 9 minute long song. You guys already know what it is if you know the song, but we're gonna blow Peter's mind here with this song.
Epic. Keyboards.
Could this be Triton?
Searching for truth in our lives, but emptiness is all that is easy. The Lord's looking down on the earth, waiting for you and for me. Just one man who wants about all to speak the truth that sets people free. Sets people free.
Is that the end of the intro? Not yet? Oh, wow. It's cool.
Maybe that's the end of Act 1, start of Act 2.
Love a hi-hat roll.
You have heard all the stories of Sodom, of Gomorrah, and Abraham's Lot. If you put yourself in that position, just look at these words that we die. You can see that we have lots in common. We live all in a very strange way. Seems like we've come full circle. Sodom in the world today. If it's hard for you to believe it, just switch on your TV screen. Reality looks like a nightmare. This Sodom is more than a dream. You can see that we have lots in common. We're all in a very strange way. It seems like we've come full circle. Sodom in the world today. But you who would follow Jesus, stop and think who's been betrayed. For the message we preach is diluted. No one benefits from one word that's said. You can see that we have lots in common. We're all in a very strange way. Seems like we've come full circle. Sodom in the world today. You can see that we have lots in common. We've evolved in a very strange way. It seems like we've come full circle. Sodom in the world today. You can see that we have lots in common. We've evolved in a very strange way. It seems like we've come full circle. Sodom in the world today. living in Sodom. You and I living in Sodom. Tell me, what is your life in Sodom? What is your life? What is it worth in Sodom today? Today. Just look around and see what you find. We have Jesus! We have Jesus! In Sodom! In Sodom! In Sweden! We got Jesus! We have Jesus! Oh, glory to Jesus! Oh, yeah.
So that's the end of the introduction.
Yeah, we're going to go to a little outro here now.
So introduction and then outro.
That's all it is.
They should write a song in between.
Why bother? That is the end of the song.
Okay, so I don't know what the name of the song is. I don't know what the band is, but if I were to name the song, I would maybe either call it Coming Full Circle or Living in Sodom.
Or just Sodom.
Just Sodom?
Let's
okay,
go with
so
that.
it's Sodom.
Sodom.
Okay.
The band is Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. Okay, very
They're
cool.
from Sweden. And that is a Christian rock band, my friend. 1983.
Okay, that was going to be my
Warrior.
next question. Warrior's the name of the album.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say either early '80s or possibly even was going to say late 70s, because it's kind of got a little bit of that vibe. It's that 70s progressive rock. We were talking about Yes just a moment ago.
Yeah.
And it kind of has that kind of little episodic kind of thing going. So that's definitely progressive in that. It's easy for me to follow along, and this didn't take too many side trips, to be honest with you. Even though there were different pockets of different ideas going throughout the thing, all of the ideas, they were all great ideas, but none of them were like so out of left field kooky that they didn't make sense. And these all made sense. I thought it was really constructed really very, very well. I didn't catch any Swedish chef. I didn't hear any of that in there.
Thank the good Lord.
So I don't know. I would have smiled, but so yeah, no, it was very cool. It was very well constructed, and I thought it was a good use of coming back to certain material, and then kind of like almost in a nod to the Beatles. They're playing the French national anthem at the end of their song. They kind of went in that direction with something at the end there. And it's funny because I can find myself singing along with a melody quite often, and I don't know that melody. I don't know what it was that they were quoting there.
Yeah.
But it just seemed natural. It was like, oh, okay, I know what's going to happen next. I know what's going to happen next, because that's what should happen next, and it is what happened. So that's how I can find myself singing along or humming along with a melody almost immediately. And you're like, okay, well, it does this, it should repeat it, and it did, and then it should do it, and then it should move up a little bit, and then it did, and then it should hit the high note about 2/3 of the way through, and then it should come back down and do a repetition of the first idea. So it's almost like an AABA kind of structure with that, and they did that. Good harmony, really interesting vocals. The singing was good. I think that the songwriting was interesting and super well constructed with the different sections in there. I don't think any of the instrumentalists particularly jumped off the page to me as being like virtuoso players or anything like that, and that's not to discredit their playing in any way, shape, or form, but I guess what I'm saying is that the songwriting and the arrangement was solid enough that they were perhaps staying within where they could be, and did a really good job with that. So I don't know. I thought it was really cool. Jerusalem and Sodom.
Yeah.
All right, 1983.
What's funny is I heard a little Freebird, like Leonard Skinner and the Outlaws in there for the first time I can recall thinking that when they were doing one of their jams at the end, a really long extended jam.
Yeah, and it seemed like it. And one of the things that made me think that it was maybe that 1970s kind of sound is that the guitars were fairly clean. That it wasn't that heavy distorted. It wasn't that highly compressed lead sound that just hangs on forever and ever and ever like Yngwie Malmsteen does. It wasn't that. It was more of a raw kind of 70s kind of sound. Where was this album in the band's output?
Their third album. Yeah, and actually they're from Sweden, and their first album they released is in Swedish, and then they released it again in English, and that was Volume 1, and Volume 2 was the same.
Kind of like what Nina did.
Perhaps.
With 99 Luftballons.
Yeah.
She did the English version and the German version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did their native ones first. But their third album, I think it was the first one that they had distribution in the USA through Lamb Lion Records. Early on, but I think this is the one that started to break them a little bit in the United States. And really good stuff. I liken them to the Thin Lizzy, kind of a European hard rock sound that kind of melds the 70s hard rock with 80s metal. Just like you said, well constructed. That's a good way to describe it. It's this epic piece with all these different movements, but it all fuses together really nicely. Even though it's drastic changes, it never feels like, whoa, hey, come back, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing is that when you're constructing a song, you can have a great idea, but if you just repeat that idea over and over and over again, you'll get audience fatigue, right?
Yeah.
Which is why you want to set something up, repeat it so that the audience can then grab onto it and feel like they're participating with it. But just before you get to that point of fatigue, you got to change and go to something else. And then it's like, oh, something new. Now I got to pay attention. Now I got to put my listening ears back on instead of my participating ears, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now you're kind of hooked in there a little bit. And then when that first idea comes back again later, it almost feels like this euphoric release of relief going, oh, we're back. Yay, we're back. And now we're participating again. Right. And so there's a psychology to songwriting as well. Mm. So you want that repetition to be in there for familiarity to hook your audience back in, but you don't want to get them fatigued with it. You want to move away from it and then come back to it so where they can go, oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. And then you've hooked them, which is why they call it a hook. Right? Yeah. That one little thing in there that hooks them in there and gets them going.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so this has been our main feature. Okay, so we're going to hear from Pastor Bob of Sanctuary International Matrix and the whole metal ministry that he's got going on in the Nashville area there in Tennessee, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about Jerusalem, the band, and this particular song. And here we go.
I love Jerusalem, and here's a song that is classic. 1981, 45 years ago, and could have been written today. It says, it seems like we've come full circle, Sodom in the world today. Just switch on your TV screen, reality looks like a nightmare. This Sodom is more than a dream. You can see it. Sodom is Sweden, where this band is from. Sodom is England, Europe, America, Germany. We're living in Sodom. Great song, really great song, and definitely holds its relevance, begs for a response.
All right, thank you, Pastor Bob, for that, and we'd love to hear your comments on this as well. Go ahead and like our videos and subscribe to the Matrix and do all the things. And let us know what your comments are on these down in the bottom here. Okay, so I would love to hear a little bit more about Jerusalem from Mr. Doug here as he sits behind the mic.
Behind the mic? No, not that one. Behind the mic.
Is this thing on?
Okay, so Jerusalem's from Sweden, Swedish rock band. We just did a full-length feature interview with Ulf Christensen, the singer, and his son, who's kind of joining the band and kind of going to be his legacy to keep Jerusalem moving on as Ulf gets up there in years. And there's also a full discography description of every Jerusalem album, including comments on the Swedish versions of their albums. So you can learn a little bit by getting the Christmas 40th anniversary issue of Heaven's Metal magazine. There's still a few left. And there's a digital version you can read for free if the print sells out, which it might. You can find out more about Jerusalem.
Is that it right there?
Hey. No. That was the summer issue.
Oh.
The one you're pointing to?
What can you do? What can you do?
The Christmas issue had an article on He Rules the World in the metal tracks section. There it is, right there.
There you go, sir.
Yeah. Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Great band. They put out a bunch of albums through the years. One thing about Jerusalem that you cannot get away from is they took Jesus seriously. They weren't a rah-rah Christian cheerleader band. We're saved. Let's go to Sunday school. Let's be happy about Jesus. This guy, Ulf, had what I would call a prophetic edge. He really cared about his audience. He cared about the microphone that he was speaking into, and he wanted to use it for God's glory. And he often challenged his audiences. He knew that a lot of Christian heavy metal audiences are made up of Christians. And he knew that, like God's people throughout the ages, it's easy to get lazy, it's easy to get complacent, and it's easy to not do what you're called to do. And so he was there to afflict the righteous, so to speak, and kind of poke where we needed to be poked and get us off of our butts and to go out there and do something.
Be a Christian rather than just say you're a Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A human being, not a human. Ooh. Anyway, so Jerusalem is fantastic. Their message was so powerful. You'd go to their shows and get convicted, feel the power of God, be motivated to do something for God. And so, they had an album called Dancing on the Head of the Serpent. So very much believed in spiritual warfare and wanted to make it clear and known that the devil was already defeated, not to be feared, but to be conquered, and in the name of Jesus. And he made no bones about it and didn't mince words and spoke clearly and concisely, spreading the kingdom of God. So Jerusalem is a true Christian metal band, a Jesus rock band that put it out there and did so well. And I was able to sit down and talk to Ulf face-to-face a few times, and such a neat guy. And he did a couple of solo albums. His bass player, Peter Carlson, has just released his second solo album this year. And but a lot to delve into. But this song in particular is just really striking, and it's a classic.
Very good stuff. Very good stuff. All right, thank you, Doug. That has been Behind the Mic with Doug Van Pelt.
Behind the Mic.
Is this thing on?
Okay, one more section here, one more segment called Crash Course with this guy here.
The Professor.
Crash Course.
Okay, so Crash Course is a segment where I'm going to take a little bit of music theory and throw it out there at you and kind of give you an idea of what's happening behind the scenes with this. So let's talk about this Jerusalem song, this Sodom here. Lots of really cool segments in there, lots of different sounds, all sorts of different things. We've talked about diatonic versus non-diatonic before. Diatonic meaning within the key that you're in, non-diatonic meaning borrowing from outside. Episode 10, I talked about staying in the key and going from your house to Grandma's house on a 6-hour car ride and maybe taking some side trips to Buc-ee's and to the Uranus Fudge Factory. That's just so much fun to say. You should check it out. But it's kind of the same thing here, is that you're staying within this convention of this key signature here. And a lot of what they're doing in this Sodom song is in A minor. So A minor would be... Okay, so what I want to talk about today is there was that one section in there that a little towards the end, I don't know, it was like a 9.5 minute song, you say?
I think so, yeah.
Somewhere around there. So maybe 2/3 of the way through it was a section where there was acoustic guitar, and it got kind of small again, and it was just this acoustic guitar, primarily with some vocals over top of it. And they were doing what we would call an arpeggio. Do you know what an arpeggio is?
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Can I teach it to you?
Ooh,
I don't know.
I don't know. Can you? Okay, so if you were to, an arpeggio is when you're taking a chord and breaking it up and playing it one note at a time. So if I were just to play an A chord, an A minor chord, all together, well, that's all concerted rhythm, as we would say. So it's together. Concert means together. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, the word concert means
it makes
together.
sense. Concerted effort.
A concerted effort. It means together. That's exactly right. So, so if you were to arpeggiate that, you would do this. And that's another way of breaking up a chord to make it a little bit more interesting. So we think of Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. Well, that's arpeggiated chords, also in A minor. Okay, so okay, so that's kind of what he's doing in that section there. Instead of just holding the chords out,
Yeah.
which gives it a completely different feel, and it makes it almost more classical in a sense. And you kind of get that neoclassical kind of vibe out of that. But that's been used by every composer since composers became composed. And
Compositionally speaking.
of course. And so that's what we call an arpeggio. So it's another way of dressing something up. Whereas before we talked about inversions, right? So with our Stavesacre song Minuteman that we were listening to in the key of D, right? The one chord and then the one chord over the F sharp, which is the third, and then going to the 4 chord. So it'd be the same thing. You could take that and arpeggiate that. Gives it a different flavor, completely different flavor. And so it's taking the same ingredients and just cooking something up different with it. And that's another technique of music theory, which would be arpeggiating with an arpeggio. And if you're doing it, you're the arpeggiant.
Question. If you
Yes.
were doing a performance and you decide to play one of your songs, instead of playing the chords, would you ever just break it down to arpeggios, the same song, but just to do it differently? Or would it change it up so much and take up too much more time?
It wouldn't take up any more time in particular, but I love playing arpeggios anyway because I think it just makes it sound just a little bit more sophisticated in a way. But you can do arpeggios in lots of different ways as well. So you could go straight up, or you could break it up. And it's basically they're the same notes. It's just like you're putting them in a different order. And so sometimes I will. It depends on the genre that I'm playing as well. If I'm playing jazz, then of course I can do that a lot, and it won't matter. But it also depends on what the rest of the band is doing. So if I decide to do it in the moment, and the rest of the band is still doing what they normally do, it's not gonna change things too much. It may just be a moment of interest for me.
Yeah.
Because as performers, you want to stay sharp and you want to interest yourself as well. You want to be, you're like, ooh, I can do this. Look what I can do. Look what I can do. Woo. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that is the arpeggio. Crash course.
Crash Course.
Okay. What else we got here?
Well, I wanted to talk about what's going on this summer.
Ooh.
As you listen to this podcast, probably in July, I'm working on another print edition of Heaven's Metal magazine.
Another edition of Heaven's Metal.
Yeah.
What?
In print. Galactic Cowboys on the cover.
Ooh.
Lots of great content. And,
All right, so we're not hiding that fact.
we're not hiding that fact.
Okay, good.
And as a matter of fact, the Critic and the Professor are going to review an album in that issue.
Ooh.
Where we're going to break it down between criticism and theory, and so it should be fun.
Oh, that's I'm looking forward to that greatly. And yes, great thanks to Doug Van Pelt here. He's been I don't want to say he's been grooming me because that's kind of a no-no word, but he's been trying to reel me into the universe here of Heaven's Metal, and he succeeded in doing so. And so I'm excited to contribute what little I can, and excited to join the team. Yeah.
Excellent. That should come out September 1st. You can keep track of all that information at heavensmetalmagazine.com.
All right, awesome. Well, we'd love to thank our sponsors. Thank you, Pastor Bob at the Sanctuary International Matrix. Like and subscribe to the Sanctuary Matrix, and check out all of their videos and all of their podcasts, and check out your coffee talk with Pastor Bob, and all that good stuff. And share this with your friends. Send them our links, and help us grow this podcast, because it's I think it's a lot of fun for us to do, but I also believe that it has value to others. So let's help share this and get the word out that we're out here and we're still chugging along and going forward. We'd also love to turn you on to our friend Rex Carroll and Rex Riffs.
Sometimes we'll do some licks.
Yeah. Subscribe and you get a guitar solo on your phone every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Okay, folks. Well, this has been Peter Emerson, the Professor, and Doug Van Pelt, the Critical Critic. And we are the Critic and the Professor, and we will see you next time.